A few years ago, I had to come to grips with how ignorant I was about a lot of things involving race, racism, systemic things, problems in our nation. And I realized over the past couple of days that I've got some homework I've done that is worth sharing with some folks who may find themselves where I found myself a few years ago. I just watched this video of Philando Castile being killed in his car. Senselessly, and was angry. And I had no idea how deeply rooted some of these issues were in terms of racism and the systems in the United States. So I realized I had homework to do, and I started reading, I started learning things and listening to folks, and just really trying to find the right actions to start taking. But I had a lot of catching up to do. And based on some conversations that I've had over the past couple of days, I realized that with George Floyd's murder, that there are a lot of other people who find themselves in the same type of position, realizing that the depth of these problems is great, and maybe they don't know where to start, but they know they need to start. So I wanted to share some of the things that I've seen and done and learned over the past few years, and just hope that it can provide you with some resources. This is not intended to be comprehensive. I am by no means an expert on the systemic racial issues in the United States, but I at least know that I might be a step or two farther in my own journey than some people who are finding themselves there right now. So I wanted to share some of those things, and really there are just three things I want to leave you with in this video. The first is that if you find yourself in that type of position where you're realizing something has to change, we apparently keep finding ourselves in the same position again and again, and you're not sure what to do, but you want to say something maybe, I would encourage you to start by listening. And in particular, start by listening if you find yourself wanting to react to things that you see being said or done that you might disagree with, whether it's a riot, whether it's the statements about racism in general. If you find yourself in this position, stop and listen. That is a very important first step. You need to just be receptive to the things that are actually happening around you, or at least the things that people are saying are happening around you. Give it the time to really sit with you and really genuinely consider what might be going on and what might be causing it. So if you're not sure what it means to listen, I have a couple of suggested books that I'm going to leave you with here at the end, and some video things as well. I would encourage you, if you use social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, find some of the authors or creators of the content that I'm going to talk about and just follow them. Subscribe to their feed of some kind, whatever it is, and just start listening to them. And if you find yourself in a position where you are getting defensive by something that they said, let's say that they're saying, let's abolish the police. I'll use an example that is maybe more extreme than some others that you may have heard. If it takes you back and you just immediately have some type of counter argument, keep going. Keep listening. Don't unsubscribe, don't unfollow. That's what you need right now. You need the discomfort of being pushed out of your comfort zone to really consider what people are experiencing, how people feel about it, and how people think maybe some solutions might be worth considering. So stop, listen. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we need to learn. The way that we learn, there are a few ways we learn. For me, that's taken the form of some documentaries, just trying to catch up to the history of some of these things. Reading has been really helpful for me. A good place to start, if you're just not sure, is the book How to Be an Anti-Racist. And in that, you will have an opportunity to define, or have defined for you, racism and many other words that are going to be helpful as you begin a journey like this. And maybe right now you consider the opposite of racism to be, or racist, to be not racist. And this is a good book to start with, because the point in the early part of this book is that not racist is not really possible, because that implies passivity. That implies inaction. That implies not having an opinion or something like that. Really, it's either racist or anti-racist. That's the idea here. And the book is about how to be an anti-racist. It gives you a lot to work with. It's a great place to start. Maybe you are part of a church and you are facing some potential realities about the church's complicity in racism in the United States. And if you find yourself there, then maybe you should consider looking at the book, The Color of Compromise. That's a great book to start. It has a lot of history in it, and it ends with some really actionable suggestions. Maybe you want to start looking into reading the accounts of people who just share them in somewhat maybe of a memoir style. In that case, maybe Austin Channing Brown, who wrote I'm Still Here. That's a good place to start. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me, is a beautiful book written, directed toward his son about living life as a black man in America. You can go further back to James Baldwin. He's got some just beautiful writing that is beautifully disturbing and challenging. And I think that there are others as well, but these are some great places to start. That's kind of combining the learning and the listening together, reading books like that. I'll list a series of books and some other things down below, some video as well, that you can check out if you want to just start to try to understand some of the history to this issue, this rooted system of racism and oppression and power in the United States. First, we're going to listen, then we're going to learn, and then we're going to act. So there's a time after you've soaked up some of this information where you just need to act. And some of you may already be doing that, which is fantastic. But there are organizations already out there in action doing the work. And you need to find them, and you need to join them. You need to support them, whether it's with money, with time, with both. There are people doing the work, and we need to be a part of that work. So this is really just intended to help, I imagine, mostly my white brothers and sisters who realize that our black brothers and sisters need our support, and that we cannot just stand by and say we're not racist. We need to be anti-racist. We need to be active. We need to be part of the solution forward. And so hopefully some of these resources help. Just keep moving forward. Keep being open to listening, to learning, and to acting. And with these things, I think we'll have a good next step in front of us all. So thanks for the time. If you have some suggestions as well, in addition to the ones that I share below, please do drop them down in the comments somewhere. What has helped you and what you think maybe can help others as well. And that's it for today.